Well, today we have the man named Kelby Rosengarten.
Kelby Rosengarten.
What's up? Rosengarten.
What's up?
How's it going, man?
Good. Long time no see.
Long time no see.
Yeah.
You guys are co-workers.
Yes, we are. We both work at Arm Corp Construction.
Yep.
Nice.
Wanted to dive right into it, but
Dodgeball.
dodgeball. You wanted to start a dodgeball tournament?
Yep. So we've had all this excitement within, it's been a couple months. We've started talking about it, and all the excitement of dodgeball is great. I mean, it's freaking fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did a lot of research, couldn't find any around the area. So I was just like, screw it, I'll just start my own. And then started calling around, making some ideas, some plans, got the YMCA on board. So we'll get that ball rolling. Looks like middle of May.
Middle of May?
Yep.
Well, I mean, you got any, you definitely have some plans in your head right now. I can definitely tell. Give us some little, plans almost.
So, I mean, I love dodgeball. It's fun. I played it a lot in the Air Force as intramurals and stuff. So, I'm thinking just having 6-on-6, probably co-ed. That's about normal, I think. 7-on-7, probably. I don't know yet, but it just kind of all happened real quick. So, we'll see where it goes from here. Just typical dodgeball rules. Probably co-ed with at least having one female on your team.
Mm-hmm.
So
you can't stack the shit out of your team and be.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. There's some girls out there that are pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, definitely there is. Some of the softball ones. Oh,
dude, they can throw the ball, man. Yeah, they can absolutely throw.
Yeah, I mean,
the
if
ball.
you know how to throw a ball, you should be pretty good. Or dodge a wrench, dodge a ball kind of thing. It's got to be brought up.
Dodge, dip, duck,
I would
dive,
love to play
dodge.
dodgeball again.
Hey, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, I was thinking about just getting a bunch of posters almost and just put them around town or something. Get some people to join up and everything.
We could make a website for it too and everything.
Definitely.
Oh, nice.
Go to the website.
Dude, you could probably make this an annual thing.
Well, the plan is,
that we could do it we should do a tournament.
That's I think the plan, double elimination.
Yeah.
Make it big as possible.
Yeah.
Make a website
50
for it.
teams, 5 days long.
Yeah.
Dude,
there you go. There you go.
Nice.
Everyone's completely shot afterwards. All of
so much dodgeball.
So it was going to be, I'm going to charge, and all the proceeds are going to go to a local nonprofit, Lots for Soldiers, which is ran by my parents. So it's just a nonprofit that's for veterans in the area who are in need of maybe a home or any other little thing, maybe a washer dryer. So that's what they kind of do. It's pretty awesome.
Good for them. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
But when they start that?
That was probably 4 years ago.
4 years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was started by another couple, and then my parents took over, I think, 2 years ago. So
okay. Oh, so it's been around.
It's been around,
bit.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they've donated 2 or 3 houses so far.
2 or 3
but
houses. Nice.
It's a pretty good gig. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So
it is a pretty good gig. And going to the golf outing for it.
Oh yeah,
that's
you
pretty
went
fun.
last year, didn't you?
Yeah, I went last year, and it was pretty fun. A lot of people showed
You didn't
up.
get hit by a car.
Oh man,
I didn't. That was that.
You didn't get hit by a car that one. So it should have been great.
That was. I think that might have been the first time I went and played golf after I got hit by a car.
That was after, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was not even kidding. It was probably a month after.
I didn't even think about it. I wasn't even thinking about when that was. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a month after. That was the first time I went golfing, and I hit awful. But
you're probably
that's all right.
PTSD or something like that.
This moment off
cars
in the
go by,
background.
it's just oh shit.
Oh shit, car. No, it actually wasn't. It's kind of funny. It actually wasn't the time I went golf first time. I actually went with my brother a couple of days before that, and it was kind of funny. We were at the Elks, and that road goes by 127, and one hole kind of ends at the road, and I hit it over and it rolled down onto the down right by the road.
Like, forget that ball.
So I'm sitting there like, I'm like, oh shit, and I just hit it real quick and get the hell out of there.
Surprised you didn't just call Mulligan.
I probably should have called Mulligan, but oh well. So Kelby, well, let's get a little into you. Tell us a little about yourself. Childhood, growing up, man. What'd you like to do?
Social security number, bank account.
I mean, I'm used to doing that. I was in the military for 8 years, so I can spit that out real quick. Almost
You were
did.
in the military for 8 years.
Yep, Air Force. Yeah.
Did you go right when you turn 18, or
No, so I mean, I'll just start off by saying I'm a very indecisive person. My brain, if you're inside my brain, you won't make it out, kind of thing. So it's been a crazy life. I mean, I started out just sports was number one.
What sports you play?
I played football and ran track. Did a little baseball until the previous athletic director kind of made me mad. So
Okay.
that just pushed me away from baseball, which made my dad really mad because my dad was really good at baseball. Wish he could have went a little further. So there was other circumstances that led to him having to stop. But yeah, I went to college for a year, ran track up at Hillsdale College up in Michigan, and that wasn't working out. I had some knee issues. I've had, now 2 surgeries on my right knee. So
damn,
I just walked out of there, was done with that because it was going to be expensive just to go there. Enrolled at Ohio State in Lima, and I went there. That was back when they were quarters, so I went there for 2 quarters.
Okay.
Still didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just a little, I guess, craphead, you could say. I had no clue what I wanted to do.
You're indecisive.
Yes, no clue. I mean, I was just having fun, just meeting new people and everything. And then that was about the time my dad started Armed Corps, and I was working with him for a little while. I was working at another couple companies before that, and still didn't know what I wanted to do. I was still being that immature kid. So my parents kept pushing Air Force, go check out the Air Force. None of the other ones, no Marines, Army, anything. My dad was in the Army, actually, so surprised he didn't push that. But Air Force was more up my alley, I think. So I went one day and started talking to him. I'm pretty sure I actually went into the Marines office because in Lima, in Lima, they have it set up where the whole hallway is.
Yep.
You
Just recruiter,
recruiter, so yeah. So I saw the Air Force one and then looked over at the Marines and was like, oh, that seems cooler. I want to be cool. So, because I mean, you always hear the Marines, you want to be a Marine.
Oh, yeah.
I can definitely see why your parents wanted Air Force. I mean, that's occupations afterwards too.
Oh yeah.
Like
I'd say the Air Force is the most out of all of them. You have more opportunities outside if you don't want to stay in. Even if you want to retire, I've heard a lot of people having success outside. So I went. Then I finally was just like, okay, that was cool. I heard from the Marines. Then I went to the Air Force side and it was like, I hear you guys get made fun of all the time, like Air Force, Chair Force, blah, blah, blah. So I said, give it to me. What do you got? And so this guy he was excited. He was ready to sell it to me like a recruiter's supposed to do. And he just kept going on and on. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. He told me they had spec ops jobs like pararescue and was showing me videos on them. I was like, all right, okay, you guys, this is awesome. Let's do it. So I left after talking it was probably a couple hours.
How old were you at this time?
20, I think.
20?
Yeah, 20, because I joined
after a couple years of college.
I would say like a year and 2 quarters. So, yeah, I was 20, and so I was signed up to go do pararescue. I think it was. Yeah, that's how I started, and then I was going to be leaving, and I met my wife in Tennessee on a family trip, and then she was just with a friend, so we met, and I didn't want to leave yet, so I called my recruiter, let him know I don't want to leave yet, and he kind of got a little upset because, I mean, they got to make their numbers, but he ended up finding me a job in CCT, air traffic control, combat control, kind of team together. Went through that, or I went through basic and was having issues with my knee because I had the knee surgery prior to, but
What did you have wrong with your knee? What ended up?
Just meniscus shredded.
Okay, yeah.
They ended up having to cut it out in 2007. Not the whole thing, just the part that was shredded. So I've had issues since. Just kind of like that bone-to-bone contact.
Yeah.
So, dude, that's the worst too.
It's
I've had mine messed with too, and it sucks. And
You
you realize how much you actually use your knee.
You'd almost
everything is hurt. Everything hurts. There's still littlest amount of weight on it.
Yeah. You'd almost want your ACL torn or any other ligament because they can go in and repair that.
And you can put weight on it pretty well too. But meniscus, it's like, especially torn up.
Yep.
It's bone on bone.
And then when you get the arthritis and it's supposed to rain, then you just got that throbbing pain.
It's supposed to rain.
Or it does rain, then you just got that dull pain just sitting there and you're in bed and you can't fall asleep. It's ridiculous.
Oh boy. I'm going to have some nice arthritis when I'm older.
Oh, from the elbow or the shoulder? Or
just everything on my right side.
The whole body.
Yeah, I bet you'll be good.
I should be all right.
We're still pretty young.
We are.
You and I included, mostly.
You're resilient.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you, 22 now?
22, yeah.
You don't stop you don't stop making new cells until you're like mid-60s.
No shit.
That's when your testosterone kind of drops off.
That's crazy.
So you're like you're making new stem cells and everything until you're like 65. That's why people start feeling their bodies once they get older, their cells start replicating into other cells on accident.
Yeah,
that's why you get. That's why you get hair in your ears is because like a lot of the cells in your ears, they don't know. They're like their code is corrupted a little bit. Their DNA,
yeah.
And so they're like, let's turn into a hair cell.
Yeah,
hairy ears.
That's weird.
I've heard of that. From, I think it was like Dr. Rhonda Patrick, who I was listening to, and she said something about that. It's very weird.
I didn't hear anything about it. I just see it. It's like,
I'm
gonna have hair in my ears when I get older.
Yeah, that is true.
Oh man! So tell us about this the CCT ride.
I mean, it wasn't really long. I mean, you go through the battlefield airman stuff through basic. You're doing a little bit more PT and stuff than the normal airman does at basic.
Right.
And I was having some issues with my knee, and I'm pretty sure a couple instructors, cadre, they noticed it and stuff, and then they just called it out and said, we're going to just send you off to air traffic control school in Biloxi, Mississippi.
Good for them, though, dude. Good for them to like actually, instead of saying like, oh, just deal with it.
Yeah, because they don't want to waste your time and you don't want to waste theirs. So I get it. I was a little upset, but I mean, I had a family, so I also understood. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. So I went to Biloxi, Mississippi for 3 years, not 3 years, 3 months. Went through the air traffic control program, which all you hear is nightmares about it. Oh, people wash out this way, people wash out, which they do. The washout rate's crazy. I'm pretty sure a class of 20, only on average 5 make it out. And you're not even done after that. So I made it to the 5th block of 5, and I'm doing radar, and you get a pattern going on the right hand of the runway, and I had 5 other planes come out of nowhere, so I got to get them in pattern, and I was done. I couldn't do it. So I kind of understood why. Because, again, you're not even done after you graduate from tech school. You go for another year, and you're not even certified air traffic controller. You have to have someone shadowing you to take over if they need to. So, I mean, I was glad. Then that commander I went and talked to, and he's like, well, you got honor graduate at basic, so we're going to keep you in. You deserve a spot. So it was kind of cool. All worked out. I was already missing my family after 3 months. Went to go pick a job, and I was going through the jobs, and I had this guy in my ear telling me, pick public health. It's like a health department job. I was like, I don't want to do that crap. I want to go work on stuff or use my hands. So I was picking all these mechanical jobs, and I think it was after the 3rd time he told me, he's like, pick public health. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll put it on, I think I could pick 7 jobs, and I put it at 7. And so I'm like, okay, I probably won't get that. So next day, the MTLs, military training leaders, they're in charge of your dorm. They are helping you out. She's like, hey, go to the MPF. They have orders for you. I'm like, holy crap. Like, I was pumped up. I'm like, I'm going to be going to work on helicopters or a plane or whatnot, be a crew chief or be a load master or something. So I get there and like, congratulations, you're going to Wright Pat. And I'm like, first off, whoa. Like, Wright Pat's home. Yeah. Second off, I was like, what job did I get? Because I don't remember seeing Wright Pat on any of them. And they're like, you want to be public health. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? The one that I picked at the last, I'm going to. But wait, go back to Wright Pat. So they must have moved the school from, I think it was Brooks City, Texas, and moved it up to Wright Pat. So I was pumped. I didn't care what the job was. I was just going to be close to my family. My wife was pregnant. I mean.
Did it end up being the job you actually enjoyed?
No.
No.
No, not at all.
You knew yourself better
not at all.
They thought they knew you.
But I mean, it led to a great thing, which is where I'm at now. I mean, I had 3 kids while I was in. I deployed one time, which I was thankful for. I mean, it was an experience. 7 months in Kuwait. It wasn't bad.
What year was that?
That was 2015.
2015. Was there anything going on?
Not really. I mean, we were 30 miles from the Iraq border. There was some stuff that'd go down every once in a while. They're like,
Kuwait hasn't been too active since like late,
Desert Storm.
Yeah. 90s and stuff.
I did find out when I was over there that we basically they leased that property to have our base on there for like $1 a year.
What?
I don't know if that's accurate, but because they love us.
Oh yeah,
because we saved them basically.
Well, yeah, like Kuwait is near the is it?
It's
near,
right next. It's surrounded by like Iraq.
Yeah,
Afghanistan.
and doesn't have the one area of. Is it on the border of Iran?
I'd have to look.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I think Syria's.
Yeah. I'm just.
Syria's right there.
Yeah. Because Iraq.
Yeah,
Iraq.
Okay. And then there's the
doesn't
area.
touch Iran.
Isn't there the area where it's like pretty much completely? No, that's the area where it's like completely lawless.
Oh, I have no clue.
I'm thinking of something. I'm thinking
this?
of an Iran. Iran has a region in it that literally is just completely lawless. They're just the government doesn't want to go in there. No one wants to go in there just because it's like super.
So like Area 51 for
no,
us.
No. It's like people live there still.
That's crazy.
And people still live there, but it's just like they don't want any government.
Huh.
It's weird.
Good for them.
What part of it? You guys are gonna think
So
I'm
is that
crazy.
California for us?
Basically.
Yeah.
Well, they might be the opposite because they have too many
Laws.
that
true.
they're just falling apart. I
Yeah.
think they have too many laws. But oh well. What is that? Right? Is that it right there? The Sistan and
Yeah,
I'm not even gonna
over here.
attempt that.
I mean, it's way down there, so that might be right.
That's great. A lawless place. That is interesting.
Huh.
I mean, there's got to be a lot of lawless places in the world right now.
That you don't even know of.
Yeah.
I mean,
we have no idea.
Shoot, in America, it's the mountains.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that,
in Montana,
dude,
I was
all
watching.
Africa is pretty much like that.
Yeah.
Like you just think of like literally half of Africa, no one's there at all.
No.
Like this is all just Sahara.
Yeah,
Which I'm showing everyone the map of Africa. It's
we got
well, right
Yeah.
now. I mean, because we're people listening,
Yeah, I know.
but like Africa is so behind.
Oh, I know.
Zimbabwe. Do you guys know what's happening in Zimbabwe?
I haven't heard.
Zimbabwe. So it might have been a couple years ago or last year. They had this new kind of sect takeover, and the dude who led the sect that overthrew the government, he pretty much said, "Hey, white people are all to blame. Kill the white farmers, and then if you eat their brains, you will gain their knowledge."
What?
Yes, I'm not lying.
Sounds legit.
That does sound legit.
Um,
No way.
I'm not lying.
Where'd you read this at?
So what happened was they started genociding white farmers, and now they actually are starving. Their whole country is going through a mass starvation.
There's
nice.
that.
Man-made
sense.
starvation. Yeah, so like Zimbabwe just asked the U.S. for like a couple $1 billion, and we're like, no. Like you just tried to kill all like the white people there, and like, see, there's a scorching like because they killed just like mostly the farmers too, so no one knows how to farm. Like you hear like Mike Bloomberg, he said in 2015, like, oh, farming's easy. You just dig a hole, put a seed in it, and put some.
Yeah.
No, obviously not. Look at Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is now facing a major food insecurity, as many people do not have enough food to eat or cannot afford it. They have like mass inflation. Dude, Africa they're doing their own deal. Talk about unexplored areas.
Jeez.
Even there's not only that, like there's like in Mongolia, there's the Gobi Desert, and like nothing's in the Gobi Desert.
Really?
Like I feel like there's so many places on Earth where people have not even touched foot still.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Oh man.
What
Let's
were we
go.
even talking about?
Let's go.
We were talking
Let's
about
go, let's go.
Let's do it. That's
No,
our
we were
goal.
talking about Kuwait. You were
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Kuwait.
yeah.
Yeah, you were in Kuwait. That's right.
And nothing was really happening there.
What was the area like?
So we went down to Kuwait City one time, and it was. I've never even been to Miami, but I've seen pictures, and it seems like it was that. I mean, it just seemed like a regular United States city. Besides the signs had Arabic on it, so. It was kind of cool though.
It just shows you how much the U.S. influenced that area.
Yeah,
that's probably why they love the Americans, just because they're like, hey, we have security.
Well, the thing with it, Kuwaitis are not even. They're the minority in their own country.
Is that what you call them?
Oh,
Kuwaitis?
seriously?
Kuwaitis, yeah.
Oh, nice.
They're the minority. Like people from India, everywhere else has.
Because it's probably like the only free place around that area.
Well, if you're born into a Kuwaiti family, you're automatically. You get like an average of 12 million, just like that.
Because the oil,
they're just rich.
Oil reserves.
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha.
Holy
it's like
cow,
Saudi Arabia.
really?
It's like Saudi Arabia.
You're not going to make it if you're not a Kuwaiti, basically.
Yeah. It's like Saudi Arabia, the princes. Like everyone that's born into the same. Everyone that's born into that country, their citizenship, they get a stipend kind of every month, like Alaskans do.
Do they
Alaskans
really?
get a
Really?
monthly. I think it's for gold.
Yeah. I mean, we
get
have in the military. You got cola.
Yeah.
What it was called. Because in
cola. I didn't know that.
It's a military thing. It's an
Okay.
extra stipend to live there because the
Okay.
cost of living. I mean, Hawaii, I think it's like $5 a gallon for gas.
No shit.
Yeah.
Dang.
So they have
It makes sense. They take so long.
They have to compensate you for that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, did you have to buy gas and stuff in Kuwait?
No.
Because the bases probably had a lot.
They
of
all
that.
took care of that. But the coolest thing was, we'd go down there and you go on the roads and you see Mercedes-Benz just broken down on the side of the road. They just abandon them.
What?
They didn't.
Really?
They're
They
so
don't work.
rich
They
'cause
just
there's so much money.
and
They
they'll just
have
go buy
so
another
much.
one. So
No way.
we would
That is crazy.
We tried working it up our chain of command one day and asking if we could like send one home. And
That's not a bad idea.
They were like, you don't know what's strapped on there, so
Oh.
I understood.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, gotcha.
That's one of those.
Yeah.
You're gone.
Oh man.
Oh, you tried opening it? Kaboom!
I didn't even
Damn.
think of that.
Yeah.
Did you ever see any stuff like that?
No.
Like you might be asking.
No.
It was pretty tame when
I
you
was
were
pretty
there.
fortunate. I mean, I heard stories and stuff. You'd have guys come back. I mean, there was CCT guys because whenever there were CCT guys or para-SU guys around, I would go soak it up. I would go listen to them.
Well, it's the best way to learn about it too.
Like
you don't
you
know
would-
what you're getting
yeah.
yourself into if you don't.
You would think they were messed up, but they wouldn't show it. Mm-hmm. But their stories. It's like, holy crap! How? I mean, maybe it's just you've seen so much. You just.
Dude, I see some of those videos that Middle Easterns post on like sites on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's like stuff you would like just a giant town just getting half blown up.
Yep.
And it's like you would never expect that you could even see like people would see that firsthand. Yeah. It's scary.
It takes a special person. I mean, I don't even know what I could. I don't know.
It's not. I mean, that's trying to. I guess that's kind of your. It's bad and good because you learn like the actual how bad humans can get.
Yeah.
Behavior-wise.
There has to be people.
There has to be people that know their shadow.
That's
It's
it.
like
there
you're knowing
has to
your
be
own
people
shadow.
doing stuff dirty to keep everyone else clean.
Oh, of
That's
course.
true.
It's like
And
the garbage men.
so you
It's
gotta
like
learn.
everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But someone's got to do it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could. I mean, I wanted to. I would. I'd try it. But it's just looking in their eyes when they tell those stories. It's genuine. It's just like, holy crap.
Well, yeah, and I know what you're talking about. Like when somebody tells you like that, it's like you're with it's like so serious of an event that you like live it through them.
Yeah.
It's just cold. It almost feels cold. Like it's just like they're not trying to be cold or anything. It's just like that's reality.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, dude. Like, listen to some of these like Jocko podcasts when he brings on these like Vietnam Special Forces guys. It's like every single night they would go in. Every single night they would come out and like bullets flying all over them, and they're like desperately trying to get back to the helicopter, and
Yeah.
people survive.
Dude,
And,
Vietnam
like,
was
it's-
just another. That was
Yeah. It's just the thing with it is like they don't have time to sit there and think about it because when they do, that's when they get messed up.
Yeah,
that's when you
Yeah.
die.
That's why when people come back from this stuff, they're bored. Basically, that's what they're used to doing. That's why, like, literally, some of them miss it and say they miss it, and they'd rather go do that. And that's why you have so many of these guys that have problems.
Oh
and
yeah.
it sucks. It's sad, but I mean, like I said, someone's got to do it. I hate
plus
to say that.
at least they're trying new therapies and stuff. Like I
Yeah.
saw that they're trying to like ecstasy therapy
Really?
for like
Yeah,
PTSD.
They're actually trying to do like
And
the,
it
the
worked.
drug,
like 80%
Yeah,
of
that's
them
great.
the cases worked.
That is good. I mean, for some, I've talked to some that it's just all they need is just to talk.
Yeah,
is the biggest thing is just get it out with like-minded people because, I mean, you hear these nightmares of going to the VA and all they do is throw pills and throw all this stuff at you and they don't even just legit talk to you.
Which
or
that's
hear
almost
you
the only
out.
time you only need.
Yeah.
Is just talking.
Just to get it out.
And the hardest part is finding other people that experience some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Just because that's the only people you really can talk to.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a lot of those events, it's like unless you kind of lived through something similar, you can't. It's
You
like
won't
you never
understand.
realize it at all.
Yeah.
It's like just for me to try to imagine what it's like in Kuwait. Like that's far off for
Yeah.
me because I've never been in that
Yeah.
entire area or anything.
There were sketchy moments. I mean, you'd have what I did was it was called just TC or like a third country national. Basically, I don't want to call it babysitting because I don't want to disrespect them like that. But you basically had to just watch over third country nationals that come on from like India. None of them were Kuwaitis. You had a couple of the contractors that come on, and you could tell they had some money. But you would just you'd watch them clean up the poop from the porta potties, from all this. You go to the Green Mile, watch them dump it. You'd have to have like orange slices just sniffing them so it didn't smell so bad. I mean, they'd clean up trash. They'd clean buildings.
They would just bring these people in.
Yeah. You scan them at the front with security forces. You send them through the scanner. I mean, there's a couple times.
So was it like it was almost like a slave, like like indentured servants, I guess.
Yeah,
like
they got paid good, I'm pretty sure. And they got to live in a city off of Al Jarrah, which that's when ISIS started kicking off back then. And they would go in there and try to persuade them to they'd just have them go count the planes on the flight line. And there's times you'd have to watch that and you just see them looking at the flight line and being like, hey, get back to work. Then a couple of them, they just kind of stare at you. And there was a couple of sketchy times, but a lot of them, most of them, I'd say 80% of them were really cool with you. Like they try to learn English.
Just that amount that it's like you don't know what's going to go on.
Exactly.
Like, so one of them just might switch and then you're just like, I got to kill this guy or something like that.
And I mean, the crappy part is only the people at the front, which is, I forget what it's called. It was they were the only ones that got pistols. Like if you were there, you just had a walkie-talkie.
Oh, really?
So
wow.
I mean, in that, like I said, there wasn't really many times at all that I was like, okay, I really wish I had some kind of self-defense right now. But it's just there was those moments you'd have a couple of them just kind of stare at you. You'd catch them staring at you, like just kind of, or staring off into seeing what was out there. Like when you were on a specific job on the flight line, you just have one pause.
And it doesn't even matter how little those things are that they're doing. It's like you're in an area that you've never been to your entire life.
And
that's completely foreign. Everyone there is you've been kind of almost trained they're hostile. So it's like you have to approach everything.
And anything they can get, it's helpful to them.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
I mean,
did ISIS ever attack while you were around there?
No, I mean there was security forces would have a code brown. Like I said, if they ever something security level raised, like there was times where we weren't allowed to go off base for a while. Ramadan was a big time when those guys would be fasting, basically from sun up to sundown.
Because they're all religious states around there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's super creepy. You hear that stuff in the back, like the praying on movies and stuff. It's kind of creepy, but then when you go there and you're there and you hear that, it's super creepy.
So like they play it over loudspeakers.
Oh yeah,
so, do they really?
You would hear the praying and everything.
Dang,
and it's just
because they do it like multiple times a day.
Oh yeah, especially during Ramadan. But I mean, there would be code brown where they'd go sit up in the towers, and there's a couple of times you'd have a security forces guy that kind of pause and zoom in, and then you just be like, okay, what's going on? And see stuff on the horizon, cars moving and whatnot. So
nothing. Well, that's good.
Nothing
really.
No. I didn't experience anything.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
I was thankful and blessed for that, and obviously my family was too. So
yeah.
And how long were you in there for? At Kuwait.
At Kuwait, I was there for 7 months. It was like
months.
January. It was middle of January to August.
What was the one thing you missed when you were over there?
Family.
Family?
Yeah. I had 2 kids at the time.
Oh, yeah. Were they young?
Yeah, which I was thankful for, and that was one of the biggest reasons I got out because I did not want to deploy again.
Yeah.
Like back then, I don't think they even really remember. I mean, my oldest was 3 or 4.
Well, that's good too. That and it's not great. It's not good, but it's good that they didn't remember just having someone missing for so long.
Yeah, and that's what I tell people. Like the reason they'd ask me why are you getting out, I'm like, Well, I mean, there's other opportunities on the outside for me, but also I don't want to deploy again because that sucked being away from my family because I don't want to miss anything. They're like, oh, they're fine. My kids are fine. They make it through. I'm like, yeah, they tell you that. They tell you that when they come back.
Yeah, and they're breaking
They
the
have you now,
inside.
yeah.
Like when you're not there.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, you missed that. You missed
Yeah.
them a couple games. Like, that's important to kids. I mean, you being at their games, they'll remember it. But once you're back, they're like, oh, dad's back or mom's back now.
Yeah.
I got him, so I'm happy.
And that's just like, I remember how much like my own dad helped me when I was that age, like when I was young. And like that would suck. I
Yeah.
totally understand why you would want to go back.
Yeah.
Which is, I feel like that's weird to me. Probably a lot of them was just they didn't know even what it felt like it's like they didn't have kids or anything.
Oh, yeah.
So they're just like, oh, well,
Yeah.
just deal with it. They'll be fine. Like, but
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, it's like, it sucks for everyone,
Yep.
but it's worth it.
And especially,
Did you think it was worth it?
it definitely was because,
That's
like
what
I
I
said
thought.
before I joined, I was at I was at a dead end. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And just having, like, you wouldn't think your parents would push you to go to the military. Like, no parents. What parents do that? I mean, you don't hear it very often. Because who as a parent, why would you want to see your kid go off to
I
the
can
military?
see why though, because it's like if there is going to be any job that you'd be good at, the
Yeah.
military will find out which
Oh, yeah.
job
Oh
you're good
yeah.
at.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, I've told this to many people. I've probably told it to you, Jacob. I said, I feel like everybody out of high school should either, if they don't have plans or like scholarships or anything like that for sports or education or anything like that, I think everybody should require just to go do the military for 2 years.
Well, I wish like if you, I'm saying this from experience. If you don't know what you want to do after high school, I would say don't go to college.
Yeah.
Go try the military
Oh, yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Just because that'll only be a few years of your life,
Yeah.
if that, and it's worth it. You'll get some discipline. I didn't join the military or anything. But I went to college and I realized that it's just you're kind of screwed if you
Yeah.
don't really know what you want to do.
Yeah.
And that seems better than college to me.
Yeah. I mean, it gives you a good foundation. It
Yeah.
gave me discipline. I mean, I was an undisciplined kid.
Oh yeah.
And it gave me good structure. I mean, my family, my wife and I, we've always talked about it. That military, those 8 years, we didn't have anybody. We didn't have. I mean, our family came and seen us every once in a while. We came home on leave, but after that, it was on us to take care of our kids. We couldn't just go drop them off at our
Right.
grandparents' house and go off when we wanted. It was on us, and I think that's what made us stronger as a couple. Which I'm definitely fortunate. I don't regret it at all. I just on to the next thing kind of thing.
Well, it just shows you how much like your relationship can last.
Yeah.
You know, it just if it could go through that, then it's like, well, shit, we could go through his.
Oh yeah.
Our relationship
Oh,
is
heck yeah.
pretty much strong as shit now. And
Oh,
we're not
yeah.
gonna ever. It's not gonna ever fail.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's probably you need those situations to show you how
Oh, yeah.
strong your relationship actually is.
I mean, it's just recovering and being resilient. It's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and that's a big deal too. Going across. Was she in Nashville while you were in Kuwait?
No, so we met in Gatlinburg, Tennessee was where we met, but she's from Kentucky originally, down at the border of Kentucky it's Corbin, Kentucky, right off of 75. That's where she's from. We met in Gatlinburg, but we were going back and forth. I actually had totaled my car. I think it was a few months before I was about to leave, so we were trying to keep in touch. I actually rode Greyhound buses down to
Did
Kentucky.
you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's an experience.
This is so cheap though.
It's experience though too. I mean, you experience some things on Greyhound buses.
There's some wild people
Yeah.
on Greyhound
Right.
buses.
So after a while, she would start coming up and spending like a week, and then I would go down and spend a week, and then it got to the point where I didn't have to ride no more Greyhound buses.
That's
So she stayed actually in Kentucky with her parents, and she was pregnant with our first one, Gatlin. And people think I named him after Gatlinburg. You probably thought that, but I actually
Gatlin
I
gun or
didn't
something like
think-
that.
that I've heard that.
Gatlin gun.
It's either Gatlinburg or Gatlin gun, but it's actually I have a cousin that had a friend named Gatlin.
That's a good name.
I was like, dude,
I like it. It's a
that's the
strong
one.
name.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I said I'm gonna name my first son after that, and luckily I had a son. So, she stayed in Kentucky, and she'd go visit my family every once in a while. And I came back came out of basic, and then we went through like 6 more months of tech school, and we moved down to Charleston, South Carolina, and that's where we were for the
What-
7.5 years.
Was she able to come with you through the training, or did
No.
she have to stay up there?
So
Oh yeah, because you went to that
Yeah.
CCT, so she probably
the air traffic control school was down in
Yeah.
Biloxi, Mississippi, and she wasn't able to come down there. I mean, that was down in Mississippi. She was in Kentucky, but there was a weekend she was actually going to come. It was the weekend after I actually got orders. So she was going to be coming that weekend, but I ended up getting orders to Wright Pat, and that just made it all better because that was an hour and a half away from home. So
Yeah.
we got to see each other a lot in those 3 months, and then
close to Kentucky.
yeah,
That's so
yeah,
close.
It was awesome. It was perfect. And then we moved down to Charleston. That's where we stayed.
Funny how that stuff happens.
It is. It's crazy.
Makes you really think like, oh, what is actually going on?
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
I think that too, man.
I mean, my wife actually taught me that. Ever since I met her, it's everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And it took me a long time to believe that, but now I really do.
I've been feeling like as I live my own life, it's like I kind of lost my train of thought now. But it's like if you try to force something to happen that you want to happen, it's never going to happen.
Exactly.
But if you kind of like, it's like you don't worry about it, and it's just kind of you just do your own, just continue how you're working. If you don't think about it, it'll eventually come to you.
Come to fruition. Yep.
Which that's what I've been experiencing more and more. Right when you try to push stuff, when you try to like you're trying to force it. Like,
Yeah.
I need to do this. I need to make so and such amount of money to do this. Right when you
that's-
start worrying about it. Nope.
Yeah. It's you got to stick to you do obviously you try to stray off your path sometimes, and that's what you're talking about, trying to force something that's
Yeah.
not there, but you just
That's
stick
a
to your
good way
path.
to put it. You straight up your own path.
You have a path. I believe you have a path set for when you're born, but we're all going to try to go against the grain.
Well, yeah, that's how you learn.
Yeah.
That's how, it's
you
like,
have to.
Yeah. It's like you going to the health office.
Yeah.
It's like
I learned a lot from that.
Yeah.
I learned stuff that I didn't know. Talking about the coronavirus, I can talk about that. I understand it.
Yeah.
Like that's what I did. I looked into diseases. I had to talk to people about them, how to prevent them, how to treat them, all that kind of stuff.
And that's like I always try to learn that stuff. Do that stuff that you'll benefit from. Like just doing something you might not like.
Yeah.
But even if you did it, you're gonna learn something from it.
Oh, I learned a lot. I used to be a super negative person before I shoot.
Very nihilistic and everything.
It was before my deployment, I used to be terrible. I was so negative. I complained about everything, but on my deployment, just something hit me, and I'm just like, I got closer with God and everything, and it's because I had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
I didn't have family, so I just I learned some things. I learned how to be more positive because it's just easier. So
Yeah, and it's all just like you said, it's just learning to be positive. It doesn't matter what religion you practice. Like they all benefit the person that's doing it.
It's just your attitude, mindset,
exactly,
everything.
yeah.
How you wake up is how you start the day. That's on you. So you can choose to be negative or you can choose to be positive.
That's a good outlook to have on all of life.
Yeah.
So you got that's odd you got religious when you were over there?
Yeah, I believed in God and everything, and I believed there was a God, and I didn't really. Then I had a buddy him and I would play FIFA every night almost, just go play, and he'd started telling me about it and kind of preaching to me on the side. I didn't that first couple of days. I was just like, oh yeah, that I understand. I believe in God, but then he really brought it to light that there's a little more to it. So yeah, that's when I really started. I actually came back, and my wife and I, had already been baptized. We started going to a church in Charleston, and that's the first time I got baptized. So I was saved and everything, and it was awesome to do it with my wife. So
That is really
that is pretty sweet.
yeah,
that's more of a bonding,
yep.
making that relationship stronger too.
Yeah, I was in a couple swimming pools outside too, in front of the church. It was cool.
And heck, maybe he sent you over there to find that guy to do it.
Another thing, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And that's like you don't even have to believe in God to believe in that.
No.
It's like you get coincidences. A lot of the times aren't just coincidental.
Yeah.
They're too coincidental.
Yeah.
Synchronicity.
Yeah.
But
It's just crazy. That simple phrase puts it all in the picture.
yeah. So you went got deployed to Kuwait, came back, and then what after?
So I got back and I had, let's see here, 2016, January 2016 was my date of separation on my 6-year contract. And I got back, so I was about a year out, and I I was like, I'm getting out. I'm ready to get out. That deployment sucked. And then my wife had it set on her heart that she wanted to try for a girl. We have 2 boys, Gatlin and Grayson. So I was like, I thought we were done set on 2 boys. Like, we were good. We had the plan. We were ready to go. But it took her about a year to finally talk me into it. And I just one day was like, screw it. Let's go. Like, let's try this. Yeah. Literally.
Turn the handle on the slot machine. The slot machine of life.
Yep. And then what do you know? I mean, again, everything happens for a reason. We had our girl and it worked out, and she's fit in amazingly in our family, and it's just like completed it.
That's
so
wild that it wanted a girl, and that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about the details later, but on how to do that, because there's one way that I believe how to get a girl and how to get a boy. But you hear all these Chinese things and these graphs and charts and everything, and I don't believe any of that. But.
Oh yeah, because they all want a boy.
Yeah, the one thing that I read, I'll give you my secret. So if you have a wife or a significant other that tracks her ovulation. Mm-hmm. When their egg drops, they say if you want a girl sperm last longer but are slower. So you want to kind of do that 4 to 5 days before they ovulate. So the males,
because it does take a long time for sperm to reach the egg.
The males die off because they're faster but don't last as long. So yeah, you go about 4 to 5 days before and stop.
That makes sense.
And we tried it and it worked.
It makes just think of
I'm crediting that.
Well, think of the little sperm, like the ones that are more aggressive. They're going to die out quick, and those are probably dudes.
Yeah.
Dudes are more aggressive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Testosterone.
I read that.
That makes sense.
I mean, it worked.
Yeah.
Hey,
it worked for you.
I tell everybody that now. So like,
well, there you go. If anyone's trying to, they tell their wives are telling them, hey, we want a girl.
Boom.
There you go.
You gotta resist.
Drops,
4 or 5 days before.
You gotta resist in between those 4 to 5 days. But if you want a boy, just up until that point.
Attack. Aggressive.
Oh man.
Alrighty. So you want to take a break?
Yeah, we could take a break if you want to take a break.
Sounds good.
Cool.
I was watching a little of his podcast the other day.
Yeah.
His first one.
Oh, his very first
one?
one?
Have you
Who was
seen
on
it?
it, huh?
Dude, they're so cool.
I don't even know who it was, but they were like in front of a computer with a webcam.
Yeah. It was, and it's probably an ad on the bottom.
And they were just messing with like different.
Yeah, and they were like probably half an hour
Yeah.
of it was just them trying to figure out how to get it to work.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never seen the first one.
Dude, it's like there's like a
stupid.
website.
Yeah.
Oh no, really?
Brian Redband, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch it. Like the whole.
I mean, they're sitting next to each other.
And there's like snowflake filter on and everything. But yeah, I watched it.
What?
And like the first half hour is
2013.
Yeah, the first half hour is literally they're just trying to figure out how to get it to work.
Yeah.
How many podcasts did he do until it actually like started to like
I think this is,
ramp up?
I don't know. That'd be something to figure out.
I think that's because I've always wondered that. Because I always just watch like usually like 600 is the lowest I've ever gone really.
So once you guys get close to that point, you're gonna be like, all right, star it. This is where we're gonna take off.
No, 600. Heck yeah. Oh boy, that's a lot of podcast. I like it.
Well, by 2015, it was already listened to by 11 million people.
Holy cow.
Well, he was already kind of somewhat big when he started it.
Yeah,
I'd
he
say
was
after
Fear
the
Factor dude.
Because Fear Factor was early 2000s, and then he was a comic too. He's a comic since the 90s.
Yeah, he was.
Did you ever watch Fear Factor?
Oh
yeah.
Dude.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really pretty good.
My mom sees him at the Comedy Store every now and then.
I think that's
when
crazy.
She's over there.
Supposedly there's a reserve, because I tried to stay reserve before I got out. There was a reserve recruiter that I was talking to that was one of the stunt guys that set up all the stunts and everything.
On Fear Factor?
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he actually showed me pictures and stuff. He said he knows Joe Rogan and everything.
Does he really?
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Does he keep in touch with Joe Rogan?
I doubt it. I don't know. I didn't really ask him much about it. I just didn't even really think anything about it because I was trying to separate from the Air Force and trying to figure out everything else. But he was like, yeah, I was on Fear Factor. And I was like, oh, you were a contestant? He's like, no, I set up the stuff to make sure people didn't die, basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Brian was like he helped with Joe Rogan's podcast for most of the beginning of it to like Dude, it was
Brian did?
Yeah, Brian Redband.
Okay.
I believe it was 2013 or something like that.
When did Jamie come in?
Right after Brian left.
Oh,
Well, he didn't
okay.
really leave. Brian comes on every now and then. But yeah, I believe it was then.
He has a great podcast. I think he's a
1,400.
awesome. Bring some sweet
Dude,
guest
that's
on. Man.
crazy.
I mean, he does one a day, or
Yeah,
Dude, he does like a couple a day.
2013 was when Jamie took over.
Oh, okay. But he does like a couple a day. So like he'll bring in like one, they'll do for a couple hours, and then he'll have another person come in, he'll do it for a couple hours, and they're just kind of.
what does that mean? Occasional? Isn't Joe Rogan on there all the time?
Production. So like someone, so he's not doing the switching or anything, but he
Gotcha.
did it before. He might do it every now and then. Maybe
Oh.
show the website, whatever.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Dude, they used to.
The
It used to
Joe
not
Rogan.
even. I don't
Huh?
think they started
Joe
on YouTube.
Rogan?
Joe Rogan.
The Joe Rogan. I don't think
He-
they
he always
started
has
on
monkeys.
YouTube.
They didn't start on YouTube?
I think he started on a different platform.
Oh. No shit. Yeah, that's a great podcast. Good for
The
Joe
podcast
Rogan.
originates to around 2003 when Rogan hired Brian Redband, a self-taught video editor and an employee. Dude, this is 100%.
Gateway
This is
2000.
exactly in Ohio. This is us.
Whoa. Computer
Sweet.
store in
To work for him
Ohio.
for full time to film, produce, and edit videos for his website.
Well, that's pretty sweet.
So your new name is Brian Redband. And you're Joe Rogan, supposedly.
Joe Rogan. I'll be Joe Rogan. I'm good with that. I've always wanted to meet Joe Rogan. I think he'd be a pretty cool dude to meet.
My mom says he's cool. Very nice. Nice lady. Nice dude. Nice dude.
Wow.
She's a nice lady.
She's talked to him a few times. I always tell her, like, if you see him at the comedy store, tell him I want to be on his podcast.
No, tell him to bring him on this podcast.
Oh, yeah,
Dude, that'd
that's-
be
yeah, I
sweet.
should tell her
yeah,
that. I
dude,
should tell her that.
that'll explode our podcast.
Oh, obviously.
Explode our podcast. That'd be
That's when you
sweet.
do the drunk one.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
that'd be a good one.
fun. Yeah.
Except it probably wouldn't be that. You,
I
we
don't
would
think
not
Joe
do it
Rogan
with
drinks. Yeah, I don't.
I think he drinks, but it would just be odd.
Yeah.
He's like 30 years older than us, dude.
That's all right.
Well, I mean, I'm 10 years. We'll make it a little closer. Just put
Yeah,
me
that's
on
true.
it, and then
Yeah,
we'll be a little
we'll get
closer.
everyone in every generation. We need to get a boomer on.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Dude, that'd be a cool podcast, though. Imagine if you got every generation on.
Yeah.
Every generation talked about just
That would be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
like
Well,
all
you
at
guys
once.
are millennials though, right?
You're a Gen
Dude.
Xer. I'm a millennial, I think. I think you're a Gen. I think it's literally
How old
my
are you?
year, 23. I think it's my year was the last millennials.
Dude, I've seen so many
I don't think it's
different
Gen
things.
X. I think it's Gen Y, isn't it?
I think that's the one under Gen Y, Gen X.
I've seen so
I
many
think
different things.
No, Gen Z, because Gen X isn't that under Boomers.
I think so. I don't know.
Gen Z is the one under it. Millennials, also known as Gen Y. Early 1980s to mid 1990s. So it's 1981 to 1996 is a widely accepted definition. So it's literally the year I was born was the last millennial.
Oh no shit.
And so you would be
So I
a
am
Gen Z.
I would be Gen Z.
Gen Z is 1997 to, I think it's to 2010 or something.
Isn't now there's the Zennials or whatever?
Gen X was 1965 to 1980.
It's like in between millennials and
Yeah.
Gen X. They made it.
Yeah. The next one, there's a new one after millennials is Alpha. Yeah.
So those are my kids. We'll have my
Alphas.
oldest
Yeah,
son
you're
sit
Alpha.
right here.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like 5,
Well, he'll be 9 in September.
9. Perfect. It'd be perfect.
Shoot.
Yeah.
We're talking like the what is it? What's above Boomer? Greatest generation. We'll have a greatest generation. He's like 98. He's
Doesn't talk a lick.
like, back when I was in the war, I plucked a Nazi's eyes right out from his skull.
And he does that every time. Like
Your
every
kid's
time he starts
scarred
talking,
for
he
life.
starts with
Yeah.
that same one.
your kid's scarred for life.
Yeah.
Just like,
We'll just
oh.
set the little dolphin sound in his ears
Just like-
every time.
His whole life, he's just like, I want to kill Nazis now. I mean, that's not a bad thing.
No.
That's what they grew up, man.
It's crazy.
Business
just
of
a
killing Nazis.
Killing Nazis.
Killing
Was it
man.
Inglorious Bastards?
Inglourious
You ever
Basterds,
seen that?
that's
That's a good one.
We're out here Nazi killing.
And business is a
This
booming.
is the bear Jew. The bear.
Oh,
Bear
that
Jew.
scene is amazing.
And it's the
Dude.
bear Jew's the one with the bat, right?
Yeah.
And you just crack.
Hits it out of Yankee Park.
That's a
Dude, what was that?
interesting movie.
Yeah.
Kind of confusing. You have to watch it a couple of times to know what the fuck's going
Does he
on.
call them Nazi scalps or
Nancy, yeah, and every time
Nazis.
Nazis.
the ones he lets go,
He cuts it-
he cuts in a
cuts the-
swastika,
yeah.
so they always know that he's
there he is.
Dude, Brad Pitt, man, what a stud. He's a great actor.
Dude,
And then the stash.
That stash looks sweet. I wish I could grow a stash, man. I like some.
I
good
would.
stash.
Me too.
That'd be so
It's
cool.
like dirty.
Yeah.
I just look like a pedophile if I just grow that out.
That's all
the
right.
way. Yeah, mine's like a little. I got the Italian stuff, so it gets darker before everything else.
I grew mine out for probably about about a month and a half, and it looks shit. And I'm like, man, I think I look pretty cool. I went to a bookstore, and the person behind the counter working stuff was like this complete nerd, and he had the same mustache. I'm like, dude, I gotta fucking shave this thing. I look terrible.
Dude, unless you can grow like the who was it from the one movie from the 70s, Starsky and Hutch? No, was that it?
Is it Fu Manchu?
Starch skin.
No, what's the eastbound and down?
Oh.
Trucking.
I don't know that one.
Not Dukes of Hazzard.
Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds. That's who I'm thinking of. Burt Reynolds. If you can grow his mustache, then you're a man.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
dude, that's sweet.
Smokey and the
Smokey
Bandit.
the Bandit.
Yeah, Smoking the Bandit.
That's
yeah.
what it was, dude. If
That
you
is
can grow
that's
that
a solid
stash.
mustache.
Well,
man.
shoot. Pull up Richard Petty.
Oh, Richard Petty is another one.
I mean, really, any NASCAR driver. I mean, Dale Earnhardt had a good one.
Yeah, he had a good one.
Yeah,
Richard Pitt.
Look at that.
Richard
Oh,
Petty
dude, that
did.
guy.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Well, it's funny how like the Hitler stash will never be seen again just because of Hitler.
Yeah.
But like, what's his face had it like was huge before Hitler was even big. The comedian
Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
And like,
He had
dude,
it?
that was a common
Yeah.
mustache. Can you
Really?
imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine it being super? Everyone had that. Like a lot of people had that mustache, and then boom, 1939 happens. No one wearing that mustache ever. That was the last time.
Or they
was
grew
seen.
it, they just grew out.
Yeah. They're
Yeah,
just
I'm
like,
not going
yeah.
to shave today.
Ooh.
Oh, what's another one? Another legend with a mustache.
I think the mustache is like kind of going out of style. It kind of
What's
sucks. I'm kind of sad
is
about
that the
it.
Fu Manchu where it comes down and stops right there?
Yeah, it's the Fu
Kind of like
Man,
the
who's got a
machete
good
deal.
one of those?
Machete.
Who's got a good one of those?
Isn't machete have one?
Doesn't Chuck Norris have it? Fu Manchu?
I think he has a full goatee.
Does he?
Um,
man.
who's the guy? Powers.
Ron Swanson has a good one. Oh, Wyatt Earp.
Wyatt Earp has a
That
sweet
was a good one.
Oh, right down
Kurt
here.
Russell.
What's his name?
Oh,
down here?
yeah.
What is his name? He's on the ranch.
Yeah. That's a good show.
Oh my!
That's
Oh, it's a
very
great
good
show. I hate that it's over.
I haven't seen it.
What is
Sam
his name?
Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Sam
My
Elliott.
dad actually supposedly did fix some of his furniture. He used to do furniture out in Oregon, and
Really?
was in his house and
Oh,
fixed
that's
some of his
sweet.
furniture.
Dude, is Bert. Tom Selleck. Oh, dude, Tom Selleck had another. Dude, mustaches won't go out. I bet they'll go out
Ever.
for a little bit.
They're out for a
but,
little
like,
bit. Yeah, but
Dude, they're all once. I feel like once you hit 40, and you can grow a mean mustache, and then it doesn't even matter.
Why is that second picture? It looks like Zach Galifianakis. Did he ever have one? Zach Galifianakis ever have
what
one?
picture are you looking at?
That second one
This
at
one?
the top, yeah.
That's not
That's
Zach
not Zach,
Galifianakis.
but it reminds me of him.
No, I don't think Zach Galifianakis
Did he ever have
had
one?
one. No, I don't think so.
Dude, I don't think so either.
You ever watch the movie Due Date?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie, I think that's one of his
Oh, yeah,
best.
he did have a
Yeah,
mustache.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man, he does. Nice.
Yes. Oh, well, he had the full everything in Dinner with the Schmucks.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's not bad.
Dude, he looks
Not
good
bad.
with the mustache,
I
like
like
with
him
the
with the-
goatee and
yeah.
everything.
Dang, man. Mustache, dude. Keep
I
the
just can
mustache.
never get to the
I
point
can't.
where I'll start to grow it out, And then it will hit that point where it's like, boy, I look like I'm about to go take children from a school like right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm not
Yep.
about to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like there's that weird, awkward, there's like a week of that you're going to go kidnap a child from a school. That's the week.
That's the week
got
you
about a
don't go
week.
outside.
Yeah.
For me, who can't really do anything, it's probably about like 2 months.
No, dude, it's about, I always get to it looks nice, personally. I think it does. It looks nice. And then I think it's about, for me at least, I'll hit 3 weeks of growing it, and it's nice and starting to get bushy. Then it just looks straight kidnapping children, hits that phase, and then I'm just like, yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that anymore.
That's good.
And the worst is I'll grow with like the rest of my beard. I can't grow beard. So it's like, it looks really dumb.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, dude.
We've been slowly, every generation, we get less hairy, I feel like.
Well,
I
less
feel like that's natural.
testosterone. Like,
Which
we
is-
don't have that much testosterone as much as the.
I mean, it's a good and bad thing.
Or
We
we're
don't-
probably not as exposed to everything that
Well,
they were back
there's,
then.
True, yeah.
there's no need for as much testosterone if you
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah.
Not laborious or anything. But testosterone also that's what ends up killing dudes. That's why men die on average 5 years younger than women.
Yeah.
It's because testosterone ends up killing you.
Well, I mean, that gets on the subject of just being being a dad. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to have a ton of testosterone because you're just going to be
Well, that's why
hard
they always
the whole
say
time. Like, you're just going to be a hard dad on him.
Yeah.
Like,
It makes that's why they always say that fatherhood always tames men.
Yeah.
Because they have
Oh,
to.
yeah, it does.
'Cause it's like you can't just be in full attack mode.
oh, have a girl. That takes it a whole other level.
I can
I
imagine
mean,
that. Then you're
it's
just
like I'll talk to my sons and then I see my daughter. I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? I don't want to stop yelling.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know how I would approach that.
It's hard. I mean,
I've heard like it turns people around when they have girls. Like they're boys, like, oh, it's just another boy, just smack them out of the way. And
kids,
just,
like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's like,
and then just like a girl, just like, oh, even with me, like I'm not a parent, but I have nephews, and like my nephews, I wrestle, beat them up, and I'm
Yep.
strict, I'm hard on them, and then it comes my nieces, I'm just like, oh, hey,
oh,
like,
you
it's
know
just-
my grandpa Leo, right? Out in
Yeah,
the shop.
yeah.
Like, I have never seen this guy light up like he does with my daughter.
Really?
It's ridiculous. Like,
Oh, dude.
he spoils her like no other. I mean,
he seems like a hard dude too.
oh yeah. Right now, all we have is like between me and my sister, we just have 7 grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them are boys besides Ellie, the youngest one.
Oh, so
well, no, she's
that's
not the youngest
that's
now.
funny how that works.
It's not she's not the youngest now, but it's just he'll go buy her a dress because he thought it was cute and be cute on Ellie. It's ridiculous. He gets yelled at all the
Wow.
time. He's like, you can't spoil just her.
Man.
So, yeah.
I mean, you'd probably do the same thing. You'd almost feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
being
yeah.
only with other dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know how you were when you were a kid.
Oh, I hear it all the time. Like my middle child, Grayson, oh my gosh, he's going to be a piece of work. He already is, but it's always
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that's how you were. That's how you were. Kelby, that was you.
I always imagine myself. I always think to myself, I'm like, boy, are you gonna have kids, Frank? Because if you can't imagine another little Frank running around, that would be awful. It'd be like hell on earth. Just a little Frank.
Just
I know how
staring
much
at
of a
it.
hellion I was when I was a little kid. Like,
Yeah.
I was out jumping off of trees and shit into 30 feet up in
But
the
you
air.
can't do that anymore. It's
No,
frowned
yeah.
upon.
It's weird.
yeah, you
I'm gonna
can't.
let my kid do that.
Oh, I
so.
am too. I mean,
Good for I feel, dude. This is the other thing. It might come full circle, where they always say like, what is it? There's like a great generation, and then the generation under them is the one that gets all the wealth of that
Yeah.
generation. What is it? Weak men.
Like you said before when we were talking before we did this, you said that people are starting to rebel against just everything. A lot more people are starting to rebel against it, and I think it will take a full swing just when people are like,
Well, yeah, this is what I was talking about. Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. And I think we're
Oh,
at.
wow.
good, yeah.
I think
Okay.
we're at. Well, see, there's this whole. It's the Strauss-Howell generational theory. You ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
So the Strauss.
which one do you think we're at? You said.
I think we're in between.
We're the last one.
We're create hard times. Okay, yep.
You guys, I feel like I was the one before it.
Yeah. So the Strauss-Howell generational. It's every 4 turnings. He calls it. I'm not so well reversed on it that I can explain it perfectly, but about 4 generations we cycle. So like the GI generation, which is the greatest generation, those are the people that fought in World War One. The reason why they're called the silent generation was the one that fought in the World War One, I believe.
I don't think so.
So the greatest generation was the one that fought in World War One, and they're called greatest generation because a lot of them died in World War One. That was the war killed more than the Civil War combined.
Yeah.
And then it was the silent, and that was the World War II, and then the boomers, and then the Gen X. And see, like some people think we're on the second, where it's kind of the same concept goes, where it's strong men create good times create weak men.
So they think we're in the good times,
they think we're at the last one, the fourth turning.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I think too.
And the reason why I say that is because it's like we have a virus, and what usually shows a turning is we are losing trust in institutions. Government is being less trusted. Like people are trusting the government less and less. Donald Trump is the epitome of that. Like he is the anti-government. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
He wants to drain the swamp. Yeah, so like they've gone and they pretty much based it back all the way to the Arthurian generations, which that's like 1400s. But they say we're on the homeland generation, and this is the fourth. See, they think it's going to be caused by a Great Recession, a war on terror, and that's like what's defining our turning. But if you look at it, you have, I think personally, the coronavirus is what the fourth turning is. Because what we're seeing now is, now the world's losing trust in institutions where everyone realizes that, like all the numbers that China's reporting for the coronavirus, everyone knows their lies. Like everyone doesn't already trust them. And now it's spreading. Now we're not trusting US's numbers or whatever. So it's like, as there builds this more and more distrust for institutions, it goes full circle and returns to the aspect of everyone wants to be an individual and it's not groupthink, which I think the next generation, your children's generation will be that generation of like individualism.
Yeah,
where they're like, because I noticed it most like a lot when we were kids was like it was really everything was like group mind.
Yeah, it was
like the whole class needs to excel at the same pace, whatever. Like the whole No Child Left Behind was created. Yeah. And that was like it pushed through group mentality where everyone gets a participation trophy. Everyone's the best.
Yeah.
Not in my house.
That's weird.
Dude,
Good for you,
and I'm not saying it's not like everyone born in like I was never raised like that.
No, I wasn't either. Yeah.
But the average, because you got to think half of the population of the U.S. lives in cities too nowadays.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I've thought about is that a lot of our population lives in cities, and that's a completely different life.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We're becoming disconnected from cities.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're just
rural areas are.
It's going to be an interesting.
But we're more connected like digitally.
Yeah, that's the weird thing.
But
these little things right here.
Worldwide and as a group, we are
more connected,
but as individual, like talking, like right now, what we're doing, we're just like.
I feel like it's too broad now. Now there's not enough communal. There's not enough communal speaking. Now it's like everything's like, and you see it now. You see everyone pushes for laws to be passed federally. When it's like that's the whole point of states. The whole reason why we have a federation of states uniting is because we all say if you want that to happen if you want that way of life to be prevalent, then you pass it in your own state. If you don't want guns, pass it in your own state.
Yeah.
You don't have, that's the point of the United States, is because we all have different disagreements. So you just need to find out where you have the least amount of disagreements with the average person.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Kelby, what are you up to today? What are you doing in your life right now?
There's not much left of the day, but
no. I'm talking about like just in life. What after the military? I mean, what kind of happened?
So
stuff?
This can wrap us up to the last 2 years. So back to when my wife and I started talking, she wanted to go back to school to finish her teaching degree, and she talked me into having another kid, so I freaked out. And so as a senior airman, that's an E4 in the Air Force.
Yep.
You have a higher tenure. It's what means when you if you hit a certain year as that rank, you are basically forced out. Like, so it was 8 years as a senior airman. If I hit my 8-year mark, I got forced out basically if I didn't make rank. So I said, well, let me re-enlist. So I could only re-enlist for the maximum of 2 more years because that hit my 8 years because I was already at 6.
Right. Okay.
So you tracking?
Yeah.
So you have a max of 8. You can be in the military for 8 years.
So you can sign up
What's
for
that?
4 or you can sign up for 6.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's the Air Force. I don't know about the other ones.
They're all the same.
Yeah.
gotcha.
I've heard other things like the Army. You can do like 2 years or something like that, but I don't know.
I don't know about that.
So I did 6-year enlistment.
Then you add
My
2 year
initial-
a 2 year kind of contract.
So
2
when you
year
go
agreements.
re-enlist, it has to be 4 years.
Oh, okay.
A minimum. But because if I can't do more than 8 years. So I was already at 6, so it was going to take me to my 8. Right before I went to go test for staff sergeant, which would make my higher tenure up to 15 years, so it wouldn't have mattered. So I went and re-enlisted for the 2 year. So I went and said I want to re-enlist. So they're like, okay, you got to do 4 more years. But I was like, no, my higher tenure is 8, so I only got to do 8. So I went and did that. Went and tested for staff, made staff. So I was pumped. I made staff.
That's a big deal.
Because if I was going to hit 10 years in the Air Force or in the military, at 20 you can retire. So why, if I'm going to hit 10 years, why not retire? I mean, you already did halfway.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get to that point of 8 before to see what was going to happen. So I did that, and in the meantime, I got moved. There was a section within public health called occupational health, and it had to do with looking at people's records, seeing what they were exposed to in their jobs, all the hazards, whatnot. And I never really cared about safety or anything in life. Like, no one really
I'm
does.
on the
Growing up,
same boat too. Yeah.
no one really, no one thinks about it really. Like, they're going to do it the easy way. They're going to do it that gets the job done quickest.
Regardless of if you're safe or not.
So I got into that and I was like, okay, whatever. I was at a desk, so I still hated the job. I was ready to get out. I was ready
You
to
were
do
a
something.
hands-on person.
Yeah. So I got into that section. I was actually over as a staff sergeant. I was a supervisor, and I could run that section by myself. And I had a civilian that I was working with that showed me the ropes. He'd take me out to jobs, but I had this one supervisor that took me out to a job one day, and it was a civil engineering job. And they're kind of like construction, but they did more of like bridges, roads, more structural stuff. And he pointed out they were cutting concrete or something, and there was dust flying everywhere. You know, you go on the highway and you see dust and stuff. Like, you wouldn't think that's anything. You wouldn't think that's like any
And the civil
hazard.
engineer probably is like,
Yeah.
we need to stop that.
Yeah. So he looks at it. He's like, hey, you see that dust over there? I was like, yeah, he's like, you see those guys? I'm like, yeah, you see all that dust floating around, getting on their uniform and their hair and their faces? I'm like, yeah. He's like, do you think some of them have kids or a spouse or a significant other at home? I'm like, yeah. He said, so they go home. Do you think they take that uniform off before they get inside? I'm like, probably not. He's like, yeah, so if they have kids or a spouse that wants to come up and give them a hug or say, hey, daddy's home, and give them a hug, and just poof, that stuff comes off the uniform and they inhale it. And in that dust is silica, which no one really thinks of that, and I didn't really think of it. But down the road, 30, 40 years from now on, you can get something called silicosis, which is
It's like asbestos.
Basically.
Same concept as asbestos.
Basically. So you don't really think about that stuff. I mean, I've sanded and I've been around insulation with all this crap in it growing up in my life, and I didn't even really I didn't second think about it. But that moment that he told me there is an after effect to your decisions in life of what you're exposed to or anything like that on anything safety wise.
Yeah, that's the biggest. Like, I get where you're going, and my biggest thing is that something's always going to end up killing you.
Yeah.
It's like you can have so many precautions, but you're going to die
Yeah.
by something.
So
It's like if you can help prolong it a little
Yeah.
bit by,
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah.
saying, is you put more safety
Yeah.
things. But there's a point.
Yeah,
I feel
and
like
I'm right
there's
there.
a fine line.
I'm right there
Yeah.
with you. I sit there. I can sit there. I'll sit there. I can tell them the book. I can tell them the standard, what not to do, how to do it, blah blah blah. But when you open up the window and show them what can happen after, like if you do this, you could lose your arm, you could lose
Yeah.
your eyesight, you could lose your hearing. If you have kids, guess what? You can't hear them talk to you anymore. You can't see them anymore. If you don't have feet or legs anymore, you can't walk your daughter down the aisle. You can't give your wife a hug anymore if you don't have arms or anything like that. Or even worse, you're dead.
Yeah.
You do something, one wrong mistake, you're done. okay, so now what? Now you're leaving that family with all your responsibilities and to have to grieve with you. That's what I try to harp on nowadays. I try to bring more attention to that and not just throw the book at them and say, because they got that training, they've heard it once. They don't need to hear it again. Because guess what? They're not going to do it. I mean, but once you put an importance on that, once you tell them what could happen and show them stories, and that's when they're like, oh crap.
But there's always going to be those people that it's like they have to. They'll learn their lesson one time. It's like touching the hot
until
stove.
it happens. Until it happens, they're not going to learn.
They'll lose a finger or something like that.
Because no one really gives it like I don't know like. No one really cares about what happens to them. Once you start saying, "Oh, this is going to affect everyone else in your family that you love," like, "Oh."
What's like the smoking deal? The smoking was just like that. How it started off where people realize is like, "Oh, there's secondhand smoking," and now recently they're like, "Oh, there's third-hand smoking."
Yeah,
where it's like you're passing it through fabrics and stuff.
Or there's the Juul.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Would you see Juul now is coming out with an AI powered? Which machine? It's not AI. That's just a marketing term.
Thought everybody was burying them now.
Oh yeah, but like
that commercial.
The Juul is like they came out with an AI powered Juul that supposedly delivers less and less nicotine to get you. And it's like, dude, no one smoking a Juul is smoking it to stop smoking. Like of person that's trying to stop smoking, I guarantee you has a regular just a vape. Like a big vape or something. Like everyone that's buying a Juul is a kid that just wants a nicotine.
Cool,
it's
like
nicotine buzz.
One puff of that is like 3 cigarettes or something. I'm pretty sure I heard about.
I thought it was more than 3 cigarettes.
No, I think that's literally what they're lost. They're getting sued.
So they've got to change it.
No. They're getting sued because they were because somebody told me that, and like I used to vape a ton, and they're like, oh, it's got like 40% nicotine, and I'm like, dude. 40% nicotine in any juice will give you nicotine poisoning. Like that's, I'll just show you. I'm fairly certain by weight it ended up. I calculated it was only like 2.5% by weight, which is like a 2.5 milligrams.
What's a cigarette?
24 milligrams.
Oh,
whoa,
damn.
Yeah, so like most of that like if you're gonna vape, you get like. They usually sell like 3 milligrams, 6 milligram, 12 milligram, 24 milligram, and some people buy like 48, which is retarded. The problem is that you kidding me? The problem is that it's 3% and 5% nicotine strengths. The problem is that it's not. It's. Like the main reason why nicotine is pretty much similar to caffeine. Molecularly, caffeine and nicotine have this pretty much same effects. They're both just as addictive as the other. You can get addicted to coffee as much as you'll get addicted to nicotine.
Oh, yeah.
The problem with cigarettes is that I think they're MAOI inhibitors that are, the chemicals in cigarettes paired with nicotine make it more addictive. Where it's like people always blame nicotine for being the addictive thing in cigarettes. And it's like, no, these chemicals that it's paired with, when they're burned with nicotine, make nicotine highly addictive. But on its own, it's not as addictive as people think it is. The problem with the Juul thing is it doesn't carry any of the stigma that regular cigarettes do. It doesn't smell, nothing like that. And it's quick and easy. And so it's like, they're not really getting addicted to the nicotine. They're getting addicted to the habit because they can do it so often.
Yep.
And then nicotine is just a reward that when you're pairing it with that, it's definitely going to become more addictive because it's an easy habit to do.
Yep.
No one around you is going to say anything. Like you can go to the gas station and buy it really easily.
Yeah, it's
like, dude, if you want, I'm all for it. It's like if you want to go out and vape, whatever, go for it.
Oh yeah, I'm all for it.
As long as you're not blowing it in somebody like a little kid's face or something like that.
Yeah,
it's like
as long as it's not affecting someone else.
Yeah.
That doesn't want it.
So what are you on this like safety stuff? Like how are you sort of implementing it to people? Like are you like you said, you're like showing them like clips and stuff?
So we had our training day. What was that? Not this past Monday, but the 17th of February. And literally the night before, I mean, I've always wanted to have something. There's a guy out there, Duvall Safety, that does a safety for the right reasons. So like your 4 is your 4 people that or 4 things that are important to you, and that's why you should be safe and return home to them at night. But no safety training or anything that I've ever seen really harps on the after effects.
No, definitely not.
They don't tell you what could happen until, like, there's stories out there. You can go on YouTube and look up a guy talking about he lost his arms because
That's just drugs too. They
Yeah.
only show you like, oh, this is what drugs do
Yeah.
to you, like not what they do to the people around
exactly.
you.
And that's literally the night before our training day. I wrote together a letter of just pointing that out, and it was about a domino effect. There's a domino effect before that leads up to an injury, like your actions, your environment, your decision, the equipment, and
You might be stressed.
They fall
you
over,
might be
yeah.
stressed and
And that's one of the main reasons I go out. When I go out to audits and stuff, the first thing I do, I ask them how they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I want to make sure you're right in the head, because if you're not right in the head, I don't want to work next to you, because
Oh, yeah.
if you're
Obviously, yeah.
depressed, I mean,
that's
people,
not a good thing too, because you're just gonna. That's where mistakes. That's when safety
Exactly.
fails.
Yeah.
is when-
Exactly. There's so many other factors that people don't pay attention to or really think about. They're there to get, and I understand it as a field guy. You want to get there and get the job done,
Yeah.
because if you're not doing your job, you're going to get fired. I mean,
How crazy is that though? That it helps so much just to ask them how they're doing. Like why that's so it's almost saddening.
Well,
We're at that point of a society where like people don't talk at all, to where somebody just asking like, hey, how have you been?
yeah.
Like,
Well, maybe that goes back to why people have a lot more PTSD, because we're not asking them. They
yeah,
just need
exactly.
to talk.
We just need to talk
And suicide
about it.
rates. I mean,
That's
think
the
about it.
opposite of phones. Phones
Yeah.
are the opposite.
Yeah.
They just you're not talking is so natural. People need to talk.
I was telling someone the other day, I'm like, not to like toot my own horn or anything. It's just like, if I'm talking to someone, I had a buddy, if I feel something's not right, like if I'm talking to him, he's like telling me everything's all right, but I can feel it. I went and hugged him, and it's just, they broke down. They broke down because they weren't all right.
Yeah.
It's this simply as that.
Everyone puts like that's the one thing I've realized, because I've done it myself, is that everyone is pretty much in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
As you are. Like regardless of money, regardless of status, whatever. Like most people put on a strong, like a happy face,
Yeah.
just to keep going through
And
life.
especially men, because
Oh,
they think
yeah.
it's going to make them less of a man to
yeah.
ask for help.
Yeah.
But it doesn't at all.
No.
And I try to tell that to the guys and stuff. But back to that letter, I was just pointing out, like, here's the domino effect after if you die or if you have something wrong. It was a bunch of picture of dominoes everywhere, domino paths everywhere, saying like, this is your spouse trying to take care of all your responsibilities now. This is your kids trying to figure out life without a father or a mother. This is your company trying to figure out how to deal and how to pick up the slack of you being gone or missing time or anything like that, or so on. Like, there's tons of other paths that get affected after this, but people don't think about that. And I think that's where I found my motive of how to get to people on safety, because I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to sit there, because I don't feel like people listen to me when I sit up there and talk about scaffolding or
and
how to
that's
put a
just like
ladder.
it's how Dare when you were
Yeah.
a kid in Dare, how you realize how like feeble and stupid it is, just
Yeah.
because you're like fear mongering only goes so far. It's like you just need the reality
Yeah.
of like this is the reality of what will happen, regardless if it hurts you or
Yeah.
anything. Like, this is what will happen.
But once you hit them in the heartstrings,
Yeah,
that's
that's
what I
what
call
people
them. It's like
realize.
once you
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
tugging on those, people are like, okay, this is real. This is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you always have those people that are like, this ain't going to happen to me. I've been doing this for 40 years. But until it happens, then it's you're never going to know. So
You're only, what is it? You're prepared till you're not prepared or something like that.
exactly, you got to be proactive and not
Yeah.
reactive.
It's hard to be proactive, though.
It is.
And it's
But once
super
you start
easy to
hitting, once you
yeah.
can find that motive of where to
Yeah,
kind
because
of
you don't want
burrow
it.
in
You don't
with
want
someone.
it. You want it to be like to dictate your life, where you're just in constant fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to find. You want to make a fine line. You don't want to live your life in a bubble.
Well,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
my thing is, which I don't want to give too much details about it because I'm still working on it, but it's going to be I guess the theme is going to be like an anchor. So as a human, if you look at an anchor, just a normal anchor, I don't know if you have one around here, but
I wish.
it
That's
kind
a
of
good
looks
idea.
like it kind of looks like a human with the arms sticking out and the legs down by where the
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
I don't
The
know what you
bottom
call
part?
them, the points, and then the head. You got the hook. So you want to take care of that anchor, basically your body, So your mind, your spirit, your fitness, you got to take care of that. And just telling them eventually, once they get that into them, just saying anchor down. Like if you're in a situation that you don't feel safe or you don't feel something's right, just anchor down, stop for a second and think about it. And then
count to 5 or do something.
It's just like getting mad. If you get mad, count to 10 and
take a couple deep
take a
breaths.
second because you're going to do something. It's just like an argument with your spouse or something or significant other. You get in that argument, you're going to say something or do something you regret.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with safety. I mean, people think like coming into this career field, I'm like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this. Like the first couple of months when I was with Arm Corps, I was like, I don't feel like this is not what I want to do, because people just is like I'm talking to a brick wall. Like they've heard this before, so now I've been working to try to find something that I can maybe, like I said, hit them in the heartstrings, make it worse, something where they're like, okay, I can have this with me to remember, and now I can actually there's something to it.
I'll tell you this, like you do seem a lot different than most safety people.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. If you do, definitely, you get to know people. You actually reach out to them, because I mean,
a lot of them go through the motions.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Throw a
The ones I've sort of
Yeah.
experienced were just by the book. just same thing over.
And you got to
again.
do that. You got to put the stuff up there verbatim. They got to know the exact measurements of blah blah blah.
And that's the worst thing about the world now is that it's all so regulated where you have to have it by the book this way, whatever.
But it's that's it. Just knowing people. I mean, that's being. I mean, not saying I'm a great leader or something or a great manager or anything like that. But that's a leader coming. I mean, I learned a lot. I went through 4 commanders in the Air Force, and each one of them were different, obviously. But you learn how to be and how not to be. And my last one in there was just, and there was nothing wrong with it because I can take it. I can handle it. I'm pretty strong with. I'm
just
thick
rip
skinned.
on. He would rip on you. It
would be first thing in the morning. Come up to you. Hey, do this, this, and this. It wouldn't be like, hey, how you doing? How's your family doing? By name or anything like that. How's your dog doing? And like
this
to
is
me,
work. This is just work.
Exactly.
It was
to
like
me,
only work.
He's a boss. It's a boss.
Yeah.
It's a demander, and there's nothing wrong with that. We need those people too because you learn from them. But if I come up to you and I feel that it's going to be more, they're going to give you more than 100%. I mean, you're going to get the bare minimum when you come to someone and tell them to do something. Tell them how to do it. You're not, if you show them how to do it and then talk to them and like help them and see how they're doing mentally and see if they're handling it, they're going to give you 110% because they're going to be all there. So that's just, it's things like that.
That's a good outlook just to have on life, not just even safety.
And that's I got to do with my kids sometimes. I mean, sometimes I get on to them because I think they know what I'm trying to tell them not to do.
But you don't. But
then
it's like you take it for granted. Yeah.
Instantly regret it after I yell at them or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, crap, they don't know that. So
that's the weird thing about it.
Like coming back to I coach and everything. Like I've done all of it, so I expect them to know it. But I'm like, wait. They've never picked up a ball in their life. And like the first time they picked up a ball was a couple months ago, so they don't know anything.
That's very true.
I had more good advice too with it. Just like with your kids, you don't want to be best friends with them right away.
Oh, definitely.
You have to be.
Wait until they turn 18.
That's when you can be friends with them. You have too many parents out there right now trying to be best friends.
Terrible idea.
And
You're a parent.
Yeah.
That's why we turned into a nanny state. It's because we don't have parents aren't parents.
Exactly.
Parents are friends.
Yeah.
When it's like. You're not, even though you might have done it when you were a kid, it's like, do you remember how much your parents ripped on you?
Yeah.
Like, they did the exact same thing when they were kids. Like, though they still ripped on you for it, just because you gotta learn it somewhere.
Yeah, and I'm thankful for my wife being able to stay. She's raised all her kids until they went to school, and instilling our morals in them to me, that's amazing. I love it that she can stay home, and I've never like forced her to get a job or anything. It's like, you go ahead. If that's what you want, I'm all for it because...
Well, I think that just your kids benefit from it more, too. Just because they have someone around them all the time.
I could be for the homeschooling stuff and everything. It's a great concept because I've always been like, I don't know, they don't really get exposed to anything. But nowadays, you hear some of these programs I've heard, it's like they still get to go once a week.
Well, now you just don't even trust what they're teaching.
Exactly.
The problem.
Yeah.
And who they're around.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
like it's not about like you want to just make your kid live in a bubble. It's like everyone wants the best for their kids, and the world right now
is
a lot
not
of people
the best
don't
for
realize
kids.
it's not the best.
No.
That's why I think we should like there should be more charter schools and everything where it's just a meritocracy, where everyone's just whoever's the best at teaching or whatever is the teacher. Like
you ever see that video of that guy with the long hair that blows up on the teacher for giving packets?
Mm-mm.
He blows up on her for just handing out packets every day and not teaching. It's amazing.
Well, that's the world, though. The tech, like
what is this?
all the testing.
You've never
and
seen
stuff.
this?
I've never seen
Oh, it's
this, no.
amazing.
That's awesome. So she like what?
Teacher just sits behind the desk and he gets so irritated. He finally gets up and goes off on her, telling her, all you do is come in here and give us packets, and just you don't teach. Like some people don't learn like that. You just have to watch
don't.
it. Yeah, it's.
Are you gonna put this in the? You can put this in like that clip or something.
This freaking lady go off on kids because they don't freaking give this crap. If you would just
It's amazing.
teach them instead of handing them a freaking packet, yo.
Oh
These
yeah, I've
people
seen
don't
this.
Learn like that. They need to learn face to face. You're just getting mad because I'm pointing out the obvious and you're just
wasting my time.
No, I'm not wasting your time. I'm telling you what you need to do.
Get out.
You want kids to come in your class, you want them to get excited for this, you gotta come in here, you gotta make them excited. You want a kid to change,
Preach it,
start doing
son.
better, you gotta touch his freaking heart. Can't expect a kid to change if all you do is just tell him. You got
That's a good one.
That is a good one. I like that
It's
guy.
solid.
That's yeah.
I mean, you don't even know. You wouldn't look at that kid and know he's capable of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah,
Like,
and
it's
that's
just-
the whole. That's why it's the No Child Left Behind and all that crap.
Yeah.
It's like all this stuff that was made so like everyone's got their equal opportunity to do it, and it's like, dude, if some kid if he's great at rocket science, let him do rocket science. Push him in the direction of rocket scientist. Like if some kid doesn't want to go to school, doesn't want to do anything, then okay, then that's the reality of
the
it.
forced curriculum kills me. I mean,
Yeah.
look at TriStar. I'm pushing my kids to go do TriStar
Dude, that's
when they're in
such a
high
good
school.
idea.
That's a great
yeah.
idea. That's
I mean-
awesome. And they got a sweet new building and
Oh
everything.
my gosh, you can't not take advantage of that.
Well, just all the trade schools. Trades are like you can get paid $100,000 being an electrician.
And they're begging.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
people.
Look at the welders.
I mean,
They're
yeah.
running. There's no welders left.
Even with our company, our electrician division is like,
Yeah, dude,
we're
they're
hiring someone. We're
swamped.
hiring someone. We need someone.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Hey, if you guys see anyone, like,
yeah,
we are swamped right now. and
it's
they
so
can't
hard to
fit
find
anything.
people though.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
That's the whole world. There's just not. There's too many. And I'm not like speaking up or anything. It's like there's just so many kids that are just they don't have to work for anything anymore.
No,
Which is terrible. And it's I feel even shitty just saying that, just because it's like you almost feel like you're half the problem.
yeah.
But it's like, dude, that's just how I see it. There's just a lot of kids that don't realize.
they're that they're sheltered too. That they
That's
don't
the
get
point.
they don't
That's
get
what I'm saying.
exposed
It's
to
not their
anything
fault.
that is.
It's not their fault. It's
Yeah.
like half the parents.
And it's all these apps and stuff, and them thinking they can get famous on their phone
Yeah.
and YouTube and stuff because they see all these other people doing it and saying.
I think they
listen
asked a
to 'em.
kid. I think they asked kids like, "What would you want to be when you're older? What would you want to be if you could be anything?" They're like, "Oh, be a famous YouTuber."
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
And it's like,
yeah.
dude, when I was a little kid, I would be like, I want to be an astronaut
Yeah.
or like a sniper or something like
yeah.
that.
Fucking
like,
NBA player,
Firefighter,
man.
police
Yeah,
officer,
NBA
the typical
player.
stuff.
an
Yeah.
NFL player or something like that. And now it's like a YouTuber.
yeah.
Yeah, you're probably not gonna make it, buddy.
It's crazy
Yeah.
because these people make them believe that they can do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, and that's the worst thing about it. You don't see NFL players out there saying anyone can be an NFL player.
Have you seen the percent that make it to the NFL?
Yeah, less
of
than
every
probably
football
1%.
player. It's
Probably less than a
insane.
percent.
They are the elite of the elite.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So
saying.
it's
They
just
don't
like-
go out and tell everyone like,
Oh,
"Oh,
it's
anyone
crazy.
could be an NFL player."
No.
Work
No.
your butt off and you might get in.
Yeah.
But wait,
There's
forget
the-
about the part. You have to have that part of like being godly talented.
Yeah.
Who just godly gifted with super height
Yeah.
and super strength and speed and everything. So
Pretty
yeah, dude, that one video that TC said that
Minimalism, the Netflix one.
no the YouTube that
Oh, the social media.
yeah that's a really good you should watch it
We'll,
sometime.
we'll show them after.
Yeah, I really like that. I watched it again and it
What
like
was that called?
oh man. You texted it to me.
Oh yeah,
'Cause I
well,
just-
we just look. Well, kind of. We'll just look afterwards.
Yeah, we'll find it. But it was it goes right back to like we're so focused on
Social media, digital world.
Yeah, on like instant gratification, everything. Like I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this.
Mhm.
That like just stop.
Well, that's the whole reason why we have so much ADHD and stuff is because we are living in an instant reward system.
Yeah.
Where it's like, and not only that is we are living in an analytical world where everything's based on numbers. Like your worth is like a lot of people make their worth based on how many numbers of people that follow them or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just numbers.
That's crazy when you think about it.
And that's like, a lot of people say they're not like that, but it's like, doesn't seem like it. You have all these people chasing after it.
Yeah.
And they're the ones saying like, oh, it's not about the fame and everything. It's like, dude, everyone's trying to go out on top like throughout their life.
And if you don't have something that's going to be worth someone's time, you're not going to make it.
That's the worst thing about it. It's just like there's so many people on social media now that it's like, why are people why did it happen?
Same stuff.
Which I hate saying that like, why did it happen to you or something like that?
Yeah.
Like, because there's no point to being jealous.
But then again, on the other side, I mean, we could sit here and say this podcast. I mean, there's a ton of people out there that are trying to do this, but there may be things that you guys have that other people don't. So that's the thing.
That's capitalism. I think that's the best thing to do is if you have something that somebody else doesn't, exploit it. Make the best you can out of it.
Definitely.
I don't really know what we have different. I just
like doing it.
Just
I
keep
like
moving,
talking
man.
to people.
Someone could like his voice or your voice or whoever
that
comes.
is true.
That's the thing.
Yeah, that is true.
yeah.
I mean,
that's true.
it's just there's podcasts that I can't stand listening to someone's voice, but then there's people who are like, oh, I love him, and it's just
Everyone's got to each their own.
Yeah.
You realize that truly as you experience more and more different people.
Oh yeah.
You realize like everyone is completely different, and there's no point to even trying to group people together.
Nope.
Like racism is not real. Like racism is stupid. Groupthink is stupid.
We just had this
like
conversation, too.
sexism
Yeah, we
is stupid because it's like everyone can be anyone could be a genius. It doesn't really matter.
And you don't
Everyone's
know.
got the odds of it.
That's what we were talking about on the way here. I'm just like, I give everybody a chance. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
they could be my best friend and they could be black or Mexican or
Yeah.
something. It's like, you don't know. Give it a chance.
Dude, I feel like it's pushed nowadays more. I feel like we were pushing away from that in the 2000s. Like it didn't even matter what kind of joke you made. It's not like, oh, you're a racist or
Yeah.
something. But now it's like, oh, you're racist because you just don't like my opinion.
Yeah.
Now it's lost
That's
its
true.
meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. That is a good point.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like it is.
I think it comes back to those stupid little like mom sayings like sticks and stones may break my bones.
Yeah.
Words may never hurt me. Like, damn, those are
Yeah.
perfect.
Powerful.
But the problem is now you have to now corporate environments are like if you want to get a job at a corporation, now you have to shape yourself to be able to even be in that environment. Like Netflix has I think you can't keep eye contact with people of the opposite sex for like more than 4 seconds or something
Really?
weird, something crazy like that.
What?
That's what I'm saying is when it's not just like sticks and stones could break my bones, words can never hurt me. Now it's like, yes, that they don't hurt me, but it's like I have to make it. They will hurt everyone else.
Oh,
It's insane.
and my eye contact will burn you. Wow.
Is it 5 seconds? No, it's 5 seconds.
Report
Netflix bans employees from looking at each other for more than 5 seconds.
So how do you have a conversation?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the
Because you're
ground
just supposed to
every
look
5
at
seconds.
people
Like,
to the face.
You count
Yeah.
one.
Like,
You can say 1, 2, 3, 4.
Turn.
yeah,
Okay.
turn.
What?
You're robots.
But how
You're
long do you have in
robots.
between?
I don't know.
5
That's
seconds
the
on,
problem
5
with
seconds
it.
off.
That's the problem with it. You give an inch, they'll take a foot. It's like, well, so what is it?
Unbelievable.
You cannot look at them for 5 seconds, and you must look away for at least 2 seconds. And it's like, we might as well just put blindfolds on and just wander around
Yeah, like
aimlessly.
the horses have to
Yeah,
have.
blinders.
Yeah,
You gotta have
blinders.
blinders on. Everyone's just tunnel vision.
Oh shit.
Wrecks go up and everything. No one's got.
Oh, dude, I think ADD would like fucking go off the roof if
Oh
people
my
had
gosh.
that.
Oh,
People
dude,
couldn't like.
people go crazy.
It'd be like that episode on SpongeBob with Squidward, the Squidward world. You never watched SpongeBob?
I've watched SpongeBob. Yeah,
Where it's just
fun.
he goes to this world, it's all Squidwards. You don't remember that?
Oh yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember that. Yeah.
That's messed up.
Dude, you just got to think about those. The people writing those kid shows are adults, just
Yeah.
like they're definitely throwing in some stuff that's a lot deeper. They probably
you
get bored.
can catch it nowadays.
Tell.
Yeah,
because I think like you can catch on to like there's be sexual innuendos in randomly.
all the Disney movies.
Yeah,
I've rewatched them lately because I have kids and I'm just like,
what's like the
whoa.
Lion King?
I watched that.
Yeah, it's like what you'd realize you get it.
Yeah. I get it now.
Jeez.
You just want to ruin it to your kid too. I would. I
You
would
know
just
what that
be like,
means?
Yeah, it's like, yeah. But you can't.
Yeah.
That's
I
funny.
guess you have to be couth.
All righty. Well, you want to end it there?
I'm good. You good with that?
I'm great. I could go all night, but this
I
is
know.
fun. This has been fun.
Yeah, it's
a
been
good
really
time.
fun. Ladies and gentlemen, Kelby Rosengarten.
I appreciate it, guys.
It's definitely been awesome meeting
Yeah.
you and
Yeah.
getting to know you, man.
I appreciate
it's
that.
good
And I'm
stuff, man.
still freaking pumped for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Or both of you. Yeah, I'm just pumped for both of you.
We're, we're gonna
All right, peace out.
see you
Yep.
guys.